Oh, that's not what I wanted. Hold on. Test. Cool. All right. All right. Right now I am making sure that there is no music and there is nothing that we're going to be even talking about at all. I want to address something very quickly, and we are going to address it immediately because I honestly think what the Bulls did tonight. I genuinely believe that this is one of the biggest middle fingers ever given by, I don't know if it's the Reinsdorfs or if you want to call it the front office or the coaching staff. I don't really care who you think it is. I genuinely believe what the Bulls did tonight is one of the biggest middle fingers to some of, like, the biggest middle finger to some of their biggest supporters, especially for this season alone. I think this specific season, for all the loyalists who have been defending AK, that have been up here and just trying to like say that every move that AK does is awesome, and they think the Bulls are actively rebuilding. They think that the Bulls should be making the playoffs this year, and they're like actively saying that making the playoffs is a great thing. And so it's just, I really think that tonight is just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen if this team is truly trying to be a playoff team. Which I honestly think is a question that I don't know what the answer is to. Does this team really want to be a playoff team? I mean, Arturas Karnisovas has come out and said earlier in the season about competitive integrity and trying to, always win. They're not going to tank. He's gone on the, 6-7 to score and talk about that everybody has to earn their minutes. We're not just going to be playing young guys just to play young guys. We are going to be going out there and playing hard every single night, and you're going to go out there and hopefully it's going to be a tough game. And a lot of Bulls fans, especially after the Levine trade, have talked about how much they love this team, right? They talk about that they're looking forward to this team being in the playoffs. They want to see this team go and win the play-in games and then go and face the Boston Celtics or the Cleveland Cavaliers in round one, because they actually think that this team has a chance, right? Now, if you ask someone like me, I think this team has no chance whatsoever. I want to see this team lose in the play-in game because I want this team in the lottery. But let's just remove myself from this equation for just a second here, okay? And also the people that feel similar to me, that, we want this team in the lottery. We want this team not making the playoffs because it ruins their draft pick, and it doesn't really seem like it's a good decision anyway to be in the playoffs this year, just to get rolled by the Celtics or the Cavs. It's not really good playoff experience, at least in my opinion, but that's just my opinion at the end of the day. I'm talking about the people right now that actively think that resting their guys tonight, if you're a person that wants this team to be in the playoffs, okay? You're a person that is actively saying that this team, you want this team to make the playoffs. Resting your guys tonight and then still supporting that decision, I think, is one of the dumbest things that I've ever seen from this fan base. And I have to call you out now, saying that you are the ones drinking the Kool-Aid right now if you think that actively resting your players just so that you can bet all your money on tomorrow night's game that you have to win now because you rested your guys tonight is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen from this fan base, okay? You are the guys that are drinking the Kool-Aid, okay? You are the ones drinking the Kool-Aid that Reinsdorf and Arturas Karnisovas are giving out to you guys. You're the ones that are sucking it up right now, okay? If you are a person that wants this team to actively be in the playoffs, resting your guys tonight is one of the stupidest decisions by far. And it's up to you to figure out that this is one of the dumbest decisions, at least for what your agenda is, which is to make the playoffs. You want this team to make the playoffs, you better hope this team gets the 8th seed, right? If you get the 9 seed, if you lose, it's one and done, right? But if you get the 8th seed, you can lose the first game. You have a much higher chance of making the playoffs. But yet, I still see people here on Bulls Twitter making videos, whatever you want to say, that think that, oh, you know what? Yeah, I want this team to make the playoffs, but it's okay that we're resting our guys tonight because it's very important that we go and win the Miami game tomorrow night. All I'm going to say right now is that nothing is guaranteed. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think this is a good decision. You decided right now that you are supporting a team that is trying to make the playoffs, at least in your head, that rested their guys tonight because you think that, oh, we'll win tomorrow. I hate to break it to y'all, but I don't care who the opponent is. I don't care if it's the worst team in the league. The Miami Heat could be playing a bunch of G Leaguers tomorrow. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is ever guaranteed. There is absolutely not a single bit of anything that guarantees you that you're going to be winning tomorrow night, especially after you just rested your starters tonight. There's nothing that guarantees that, okay? Which is the reason why that if you are a person right now that wants this team in the playoffs, you should be absolutely destroying this Bulls team for what they decide to do tonight. There is no reason for you to be resting guys. You are playing with fire right now, especially if you go and lose tomorrow night. Which, at least for me, just to make it clear, I'm laughing. If the Bulls lose tomorrow night, which I actively kind of hope that they do, just to give the middle finger to those sort of fans right now, like the biggest middle finger ever, and just to laugh in their faces about, yeah, this team, you think this team is actually taking things seriously? They're not. But I want this Bulls team to lose tomorrow, just so that the fans, especially Bulls Central YouTube right now, who think that resting guys tonight is a good thing for his agenda, which is like, yeah, he wants the team to make the playoffs. He thinks resting guys tonight was a great decision. I'm like, I'm sorry, you want this team to make the playoffs. You are one of the people that talk about competitive integrity all season long, and you're actively against tanking. Well, what the Bulls did tonight is pretty much they just decided to tank tonight just for whatever reason. But oh, by the way, you don't have any seed guaranteed. You don't have the 9 seed or the 8 seed guaranteed tonight. I honestly trying to make sure that you don't get the 10 seed tonight. But according to Bulls Central YouTube and many of his other followers that love to follow everything he says, oh, resting guys tonight was a good decision. I'm sorry. No, it's not. If you're a person who wants to see him in the playoffs, resting guys tonight makes absolutely no damn sense. I don't care what you think. I don't care about the fact that the Miami game is more important than this game tonight. You can lose tomorrow. So give me any sort of chances where you're like, yeah, you know what? We're just going to give up this game anyway. That's what you should never be doing in this sort of situation. So I hope that for all the people right now that think that resting guys tonight was a good decision if you want this team to make the playoffs, I hope you really look at yourself in the mirror. Because I'm telling you right now, straight to your face, you are drinking the Kool-Aid from this organization. This organization does not care. This organization clearly, after just what they just showed tonight, they don't care. They don't care about making the playoffs. They really actively don't care, but they also don't want to be bad enough so that they get a good draft pick and they don't, miss out on selling tickets. They care about being mediocre and only being mediocre. If anything, this organization right now wants to be the 9 seed. They don't want to be the 8 seed, and they definitely don't want to be the 10 seed. They want to be the 9 seed. Why? Because it guarantees them that one extra home game that wasn't on the schedule to start the season. Hope that settles in for you guys, because I really don't think Bulls fans understand right now what the Bulls did tonight. But for someone like me, I'm like, hey, I think this is a good decision. You lost the game that you should lose, and guess what? You have a chance to go lose tomorrow. That's a great overall thing. For you that want this team to make the playoffs right now, why do you think resting is a good thing tonight? You don't just give up games. You're actively trying to, you have a chance for the 7 seed, if you're wondering. You have a 4% chance for the 7 seed. It would have required you to hopefully get this one tonight, but there was a chance, right? But no, we don't care about that clearly. So if the Bulls clearly don't care about seeding, then why should you care about making the playoffs? This team doesn't want to make the playoffs, clearly. They don't really care about it. They want the home game. That's their main agenda, and I hope people understand that. And stop, and I mean stop, drinking the Kool-Aid. I genuinely mean it. Y'all better stop drinking the Kool-Aid. This is insane what we witnessed tonight. And I hope Bulls fans understand that. But this is insane. And I'm like, you know what? This to me, I'm sitting here laughing, okay? Because I'm just like, all right, yeah. For all you people that thought this Bulls team is all about competitive integrity trying to make the playoffs this season, what the hell was this tonight? I'm sorry, what did we witness tonight? What was this? Is this competitive integrity? I thought that you guys thought we're gonna beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. Well, the Bulls clearly think that even without Donovan Mitchell, that they can't beat the Cleveland Cavaliers today. So, I mean, you're the ones that have blind faith. The Bulls organization doesn't think that they can beat the Cavaliers even without Donovan Mitchell. So why should you? It is genuinely insane what I have witnessed today from not just this organization as a whole, because the organization is absolutely just one of the most ridiculously run organizations in the NBA, but also from Bulls fans right now who are actively defending the decision tonight, who want to make the playoffs. They're actively defending the decision tonight because they actively think that, no matter what, we're winning tomorrow. Which, you know what? Sure. Maybe you do win tomorrow. But you know what could also happen tomorrow? You could also lose tomorrow. And just so that I get the satisfaction of watching your whole idea of this organization crumble in your faces, I want the Bulls to lose tomorrow. Just so that I can laugh at everybody. The Bulls organization and the people that think that, resting guys tonight is a good idea for the playoff push. I hope the Bulls lose tomorrow. I'm going to be laughing my ass off if the Bulls lose tomorrow, which would be fantastic to witness. All the Bulls fans having nothing that they can say to defend the decision tonight, even though they want to make the playoffs, right? I hope it happens. So, that's just to start the stream. I wanted to go ahead and do this now because I know some people actively do watch the VODs, and I know they can't always watch things. And it's a little bit of an early stream tonight because it was a 6 o'clock game. So, want to start the stream there. We're going to go to chat now, and I want to hear your guys' opinion on all this because, again, if you're wondering, by the way, I love this. I love the fact that the Bulls rested their guys tonight. We took the L tonight. You have a chance to take the L tomorrow. Hopefully you get below Miami in the standings, and woohoo. You're looking good for potentially losing in the play-in tournament and then getting a better overall lottery chance because you're below Miami. I personally would love that. I'd be like, awesome. Good job, guys. You did your job. Now, I know that a lot of Bulls fans, though, that want to make the playoffs. Well, I don't think what the Bulls did tonight helps them make the playoffs at all. I think it actively hurts them. Not saying the Bulls win tonight, even at full strength. Not saying that. I'm just saying that you can't just give up games. You can't. Giving up games when you're actively trying to fight for better seeding is not something you just do. You just don't. A legit organization that wants to try to make sure they have a better chance of making the playoffs does not just give up a game tonight. I don't care it's a back-to-back. I don't care what the situation is. You don't give up games. It's a game. Because here's the thing. You could go and lose the next one. Right? It's very simple. So, very hilarious thing that happened today. I think, once again, I just want to say it one more time. To all the people that are anti-tank and we don't want this Bulls team to miss out and, go into the lottery and pray for chances or whatever. Or the people that are like, no, we don't really want to rebuild. We want to actively go and be good and try to make the playoffs. The Bulls organization, the people that you support that think that they're, we're doing the right thing. This is what the Bulls organization just did to you guys tonight. And I'm laughing. I'm just like, this is great. But the reason why you're hearing my voice be upset right now is because I'm looking at all the Kool-Aid drinkers on Bulls media right now, or Bulls social media, and I can't believe how many people right now that a lot of people respecting the community are drinking the Kool-Aid tonight. I think it's hilarious. But you know what? I don't have the biggest platform to go ahead and be like, hey, y'all don't know what you're talking about, but I get to say it here, at least on this stream, because it is my stream at the end of the day. So, very funny overall. What's going on, Vibration? Nice game at Montes. Yeah, I did. Buzos did a really good job. He challenged Mobley tonight pretty nicely. And yeah, he was pretty good. Patrick, bro, I mean, look, I think Patrick overall had a nice game. Got to give it to him when it's due, but bro, 15 of his 21 points tonight were on catch and shoot threes. He was, what is it then? He was 2 for 5 on non-catch and shoot threes, which one was a mid-range shot, one was a dunk, and then he hit 2 free throws. So 4 turnovers, a lot of them were bad, but good job tonight by P. Will. Buzalis, I continue to love what I'm seeing. He had 2 steals tonight, had a block. I had some bad turnovers as well, but I can live with it. 5 assists, 5 rebounds, which is good to see. 6 to 12 from the field, which is, I wish it was a little bit better from 3-point range, but overall good. Love that. What are your thoughts on the Bulls resting players tonight? Yeah. I hope I answered that question. Again, for someone like me who wants this team to get below Miami in the standings, I love it. I'm like, awesome, this is great. I love what I'm seeing. For the people that are actively thinking that this Bulls team is trying to make the playoffs and want this Bulls team to make the playoffs, and yet defend the decision tonight, I'm just straight up calling you guys an idiot tonight. I think resting guys, if you're trying to make the playoffs, is one of the dumbest decisions in the world. But for me, I'm like, hey, this is great. I love this. This is awesome. Go and lose tomorrow too, but while you're at it. But yeah. well, I didn't think you were doing this game. I missed the Charlotte game, so I had to do this one, obviously. The Charlotte game was in the middle of the day, so there was no shot I was going to be able to do that. But, yeah. Wanted to make sure I go ahead and talk about this one, especially after the Bulls made some headlines tonight, which was like, whew. This has been one of the weirdest days in NBA history, obviously, with Michael Malone getting fired and Calvin Booth getting fired. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. I think Booth kind of deserved it, but the Bulls doing this the whole decision was just hilarious to watch, because it's just like, wow. So I guess, you know, the whole idea of competitive integrity that you guys all preached about, which, again, you have things to lose tonight. There's things to gain and to lose tonight if you go ahead and just botch this one. Is, you know, it's pretty hilarious to see that, oh yeah, we don't really care about competitive integrity. It's so insane to see what we witnessed today. So I personally am just like, wow, what an interesting decision by this Bulls organization, who continue to do weird things, right? Woohoo. Let's make sure that we lose tonight so that we're all rested for tomorrow, which is, again, there's no guarantee that you win tomorrow. There's no guarantee. You could go and lose tomorrow. There is a chance you lose tomorrow. I just think it's hilarious if it does happen. I would be laughing so hard if you lose tomorrow. That'd be fantastic. I knew Javon Carter's going to waste a bunch of offensive possessions. Mata should have had way more plays. I think Buzzel's had enough opportunities tonight. I think we did see some of his struggles with some of the on-ball opportunities, which is fine. Carter, I think that there are definitely some possessions where he took the three where it was a little bit unnecessary, but I can live with some of the shots overall from Javon Carter. Sorry, I thought music was playing. There we go. Now music's playing. But yeah, I genuinely, I'm like, I'm not gonna be too upset with Javon, because I understand that he's kind of being thrust into like the point guard role tonight, and he's like trying to figure out the offense and trying to score for the team. But I'm overall, I'm okay with what happened tonight. I think with the amount of minutes that both Buzelis and Williams played, I think they got enough shots or enough on-ball opportunities to go and try to show like, hey, maybe trust me with the ball a little bit more. I think some of the stuff that Buzelis didn't really always show up in the box score. I think there are a lot of possessions, honestly, where I thought he broke down the defense a lot and he passed it out, but like nothing is shown for it because the guy either didn't take the shot or he missed the shot. So I don't think it was fine. I think that the balance tonight was pretty good, and Buzelis also showed in the transition game that he's a very good lob passer to both Smith and Collins, which is great. So I overall think that it was fine tonight. I do think Carter maybe took some shots that were a little bit unnecessary, but I'm not freaking out about it. I mean, you're supposed to lose this game, so I'm not gonna be too critical of it. But if we're gonna be kind of calling some things out, then yeah, I definitely think that Carter took some shots he probably shouldn't have. I came in mid-rant. Who did it, Duncan? The Bulls organization did it, and also the Bulls fans that are stupid did it. So social media. It's social media, but it's also just the Bulls organization as a whole. I guess the one thing that I'm pissed off at the Bulls org is just that they're making stupid decisions still. If the whole idea is that you're gonna try and go and be competitive, right, then doing this makes no damn sense. And if anything, it sends a bad message out to the rest of the world of like, oh yeah, we don't really care. Like, if you're actively going to be going out there and trying to attract free agents or trying to show like, hey, we're a legit basketball organization that doesn't want to tank or, doesn't want to do any of the rebuilding stuff, but we're going to go on and actually try, like, this is not it. And yet there's Bulls fans that defended this decision tonight, which is just, I find so stupid that there are Bulls fans that defended the decision tonight. I don't think, honestly, if you're a person that wants this team to win, I think that you have no ability to defend this decision. There is not a single argument that I have seen so far that makes any sense of why you rested your guys tonight. Not a single one. I'm aware that tomorrow's game is more important than this game. Like, if you, let's say for example, if you won tonight and then you lost tomorrow, then it's a pretty big impact for you as in terms of your overall seeding, versus you losing tonight and then winning tomorrow, which would be a very, very big lift for you. But the problem is with that theory is, hey, you could also lose tomorrow after losing tonight, right? So that's just what I'm saying. I'm like, listen, bro, the Cavs don't have Mitchell, right? Like, which is the other part of why I feel like resting your guys tonight doesn't make any sense if you're trying to win. They don't have Mitchell tonight. And I'm not saying you're gonna go and win, but that gives you a higher chance of winning this game. And you decided, nah, we don't care, even though their best player's out. We're just gonna sacrifice the game anyway, which is a very bad message to all the people that think that, oh yeah, we can go and beat the Cavaliers in 7 games. Well, the Bulls think that they can't even beat the Cavaliers tonight without Donovan Mitchell. So clearly the Bulls organization doesn't feel like they're gonna win. This game for the Bulls was to see who can play and who can't. I assume more of a evaluation game. I mean, if you want to take it that way, for sure. I think it was kind of an evaluation game for both Buzelis and Williams with the ball in their hands a little bit more. And then to kind of see how some of the other players, like the two-way guys like Emmanuel Miller and how Jameer Young kind of played. A little bit of Liddell as well. So, you know, nice job by Jameer Young to get his first NBA buckets in his career. And then we saw Liddell, you know, he had some nice overall decisions. He got some offensive rebounds and got put back. So good job by him. Yeah, we saw a lot of overall just kind of on-ball opportunities for Buzelis and P. Will. Same thing with THD, who overall had a nice game. Interesting decisions, but nice game still. And then we saw more minutes for guys like Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips than normal. Kind of mixed bag, unfortunately, from those guys. I don't really think Terry had that great of a game, unfortunately. Phillips was also kind of a mixed bag, kind of a better first half than the second half. So not thrilled to see those performances overall, but it'll be interesting to watch moving forward. That's what I was thinking. Hope the Bulls tomorrow. I mean, if you really want this Bulls team to make the playoffs, you better hope they win tomorrow, or else this looks like one of the dumbest decisions in the world. Bulls Central was the first Bulls YouTube account I followed and then I'm unsubscribed within a month. Look, bro, I'm never here to start beef with other Bulls YouTubers, man. But the Bulls Central YouTube. Okay, I'm not talking about Hayes, right? I'm talking about Bulls Central YouTube. All right. I'm talking about this guy that he's probably one of the bigger Bulls channels in the community. He does his own content that I think is really good for certain audiences, but he also has been one of the people recently on social media about he's talked about how much he loves the squad, how much that he is anti against the Bulls losing in the play-in and anti-tanking, which again, I'm not pro-tank. I'm pro-rebuild though. And, you know, Bulls fans, I think this is a rebuild by this front office. I'm here to tell you that this is not a rebuild, but, I'm very much like, listen, this Bulls team, it does not help them if they make the playoffs. Like, I've been very adamant about it. But this is one of the guys that is actively rooting for this team to make the playoffs. He thinks that making the playoffs is a great thing. And he went out on Bulls Twitter after this whole situation and said, you know what? I agree with what the Bulls did. I think it's a good decision to rest the guys tonight against Cleveland, which you're probably not going to win the game anyway. And then you're going to put all your eggs in the basket against Miami tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Listen, you are a person right now who just drank the Kool-Aid and said that, yeah, I'm cool settling for the 9 seed. Like, that's what you said. If you want this Bulls team to make the playoffs, they need to go out and try to win every game. Because getting the 8 seed versus the 9 seed, like, it significantly increases your chances to make the playoffs. You have 2 chances in the playing games to make the playoffs with the 8 seed. You have 1 chance, basically, as the 9 seed. It's one and done every game. You could lose the first game if you're the 8 seed, right? So I don't know what the logic is behind any of these people right now, especially Bull Central YouTube right now. Like, he doesn't make any sense. That is just why I'm just like, bro, I hate to be the guy, but sitting your guys tonight when you're a person that wants this team to make the playoffs is not helping your case whatsoever about thinking this team is trying to make the playoffs, and you know you want to support this team for their good decisions. I'm sorry to say, but this is actively going against that whole agenda. And you better hope the Bulls win tomorrow, because if they don't win tomorrow, then I'm going to be sitting here laughing in your face, because I'm just like, so, about the Bulls winning tomorrow and making sure that they put all their eggs in one basket and winning against Miami. Like, what happened, man? Like, Bulls and Miami right now are tied for the same record. Bulls have the tiebreaker, but if they happen to go lose tomorrow, then you're a game behind Miami. Then you're the 10th seed. So good luck. I'm just gonna be laughing in everyone's faces if that does happen. You know how I feel about what they're doing. However, I'm not putting the Matas Kool-Aid down. Trey Goody. We have our new PG. Yeah. We have our new point guard in Matas Buzas, which honestly, you know what? I'm not saying he's going to be the point guard, but I think he will be a guy that's going to be a playmaker for this team moving forward. If he can figure out his handles, which again, his handles are better than I thought they were going to be in his rookie season. But I did also say that he needs to still work on some stuff. So I really think that he's gonna work on a lot this offseason and work on the herky jerky stuff in his handles and clean it up, and we'll see. I'm looking forward to next season to see how much he's worked on. So if he's able to work on that and then become like an active on ball threat and playmaker for this team, then awesome. That's gonna be awesome to see. Yeah. I like when fan discourse gets reduced to rooting for certain outcomes just to spite other fans, to be honest. I mean, that's fair, AV Breeze, if you don't like that. But I'm here to root for certain outcomes just because I think a lot of Bulls fans right now are being really ridiculous. And I genuinely believe that you're drinking there's Bulls fans right now that are drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm personally, again, it's not just for my own hey, I would love for this Bulls team to go and lose so that they get better spots in the lottery. It's also just to show to other Bulls fans that, hey, your argument for this whole resting situation tonight is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. You don't rest guys tonight. I'm sorry, you just don't. If you're actively trying to be in the playoffs, you don't rest guys tonight. There's too much to gain and to lose tonight if you rest guys. So you defending this decision, I think, is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I'm talking about the people that defended the decision tonight. If you're a person that wants the playoffs or the Bulls to make the playoffs, I think this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. So I'm personally rooting for it. That's that's my decision at the end of the day. But if you disagree with that, that's fine. If you really don't like it when fans get into oh, I want certain outcomes or whatever. I'm personally just listen, bro, your whole logic is just bad. If you're a person that supported what happened today, if you want the playoffs to happen, I think the logic is awful. The Bulls, if you're a person that wants the Bulls to make the playoffs, you should be looking to win every game. It only helps them to make the playoffs if they win every single game. And losing tonight does not help them in that. So I just think it's hilarious what we witnessed today. Man, I swear Patrick during the regular season and end of regular season are different. Bro just balls at the end of the season. Well, yeah, he balls when no one else is playing, right? Patrick goes out and balls when no one else is out there to really get the ball to. Now, granted, I'm going to give Patrick this. Patrick did perform today against a Cleveland Cavaliers team that was pretty much at full strength besides Donovan Mitchell, okay? The Cavaliers, they went out and tried to win this game because they had to win this game because if they did lose this one, there was a chance that they would not get the 1 seed for the playoffs. So, they actually had things to play for today. So, I'll give Pat that. It wasn't like he went out and balled against a bunch of bench players. He balled out against, Cleveland starters and, Cleveland key reserve players. So, give credit to Pat for that. However, as I said that with Patrick's game, a lot of his points today were not generated by him. A lot of his points were generated by other people, and he converted on those points, right? And I'm talking about the catch and shoot 3-point shots. He hit 5 threes today. All 5 were catch and shoot threes, and 5 of his made 7 baskets were from the catch and shoot 3-point shot. He had then 1 mid-range pull-up shot, so that's by him. So good job by him. And then he had a dunk, which Max Strus basically just let him get. So at the end of the day, it wasn't really that impressive, at least in my opinion, because let's say Pat misses, 2 more of those threes and went 3 for 6 in three-point range. Then we're talking about a 15-point game from Patrick Williams against, when he's one of the main kind of options tonight. So it's not that impressive to me, but at least he went out and performed. So I got to give him credit where credit is due. And here's, of course, always the big question. Can you go and do this in the playoffs then? How about the playing game? Listen, bro, you get these, you only taking 6 threes today. Unfortunately for Pat, it doesn't really help his whole argument of oh, I don't get the ball in my hands more, or I don't get more shot opportunities when the others are playing. There are games where you go out and you take 6 threes when everyone is playing. right? You just don't knock them down, or you don't take the shots, or you are just having poor games overall. You just don't make them. So at least for me, I'm like, bro, I understand that, hey, the ball was in your hands a little bit more today. It allowed you to have some mistakes and stay on the floor. But at the same time, man, you better go out there and you better, in like, I see this sort of game, I'm like, okay, well, in the play-in game, then I better see you go out there and perform well when everyone else is playing, because you get these same shots. It's not like you get any sort of different shots with all these guys out. I mean, almost every single three that you took was a catch and shoot three. The other three that you did take and you missed was a pull up one dribble three, and you were wide open. So, you know, props to him for knocking the shots down tonight, but you better go and also do this when everyone else is playing, because I can't only have you put up 20 points when, you know, 4 of the 5 starters are out tonight. It's just not a good recipe for success, man. So I'm overall just like, all right, good job, Pat, tonight, but I better see it moving forward. Postgame headlines, what did I miss? Just the resting the guys tonight, I think, is kind of making some headlines, but it's not really headliner or anything like that. Bully Jarrett, protect the paint very well. I mean, those two guys are insane. And I mean, we even saw a lot of moments today where it wasn't even just like them blocking or like kind of changing shots at the basket. Their overall just versatility on defense allows them to kind of guard perimeter defenders pretty effectively. And so, like, that in and of itself is good paint defense. If you're able to stop guys on the perimeter and not let guys in the interior as a big man, like, that's still good paint defense by you. So these guys are just insane with what they do. Those two guys, I had some kind of concerns about them working it out, but I mean, Mobley's taken a step forward this year. Allen is one of the most efficient players in the league, and he's done a hell of a job. So it's gonna be fun to watch those two guys in the playoffs, see if it's gonna translate over, because the game is different. But yeah, I mean, they have a shot. They have a shot against the Celtics or against anybody, honestly. The running point for was actually pretty impressive. Are you talking about Buzelis? Yeah, I think Buzelis getting some of the on-ball opportunities was pretty good. I hope that continues for him, because I think it's going to be very important. This is who Pat was consistently. I feel like our view on the Bulls' future would be completely different. Breaks my heart. I don't know about completely different, but I would feel a lot better about him moving forward. Like, I would feel like the Bulls have a solidified starting, like, their starting small forward and power forward positions are kind of solidified. And then, you know, maybe, you know, we'll see about their point guard and shooting guard positions, right? Again, I think you have to choose one of them to move forward with, just due to how those two guys play. But I mean, it would give you a lot more faith in not just like, hey, maybe these are like two forwards of the future, but also like you can move one of these guys for either future assets, or you know that these guys have value if you're going to try to take a step forward, right? But Pat, obviously, if you have seen, like, he has negative value for this season. So I think because of that, we're just like, oh boy. Legislating thoughts on Malone. So yeah, I'll quickly address this. I think firing Michael Malone is insane by the Denver front office. But obviously they fired Calvin Booth, so they don't have a front office. So I personally think that firing Michael Malone is ridiculous. Now, I am aware that Michael Malone and Calvin Booth have clearly had some sort of like friction going on. They've kind of been butting heads. And honestly, if I was Michael Malone, I would also be butting heads, because I feel like that Calvin Booth's overall decision making has been pretty poor since that championship caliber season, which they won the ring with. So, you know, I wouldn't be. I'm not shocked if Michael Malone's kind of pissed at Calvin Booth for some of the decisions he's made. Now, here's the thing that I'm kind of wondering. We'll find out later if this is what happened, but did Calvin Booth decide to fire Michael Malone, and then when that news broke, did the Denver owners come and just fire Calvin Booth after? Because reminder, the way that Shams broke the news, right? Shams broke the news that Michael Malone got fired in a shocking move by one of the top 4 teams in the West. The Denver Nuggets have fired their head coach that they won a championship in Michael Malone. Then after that, we hear that, oh, they fired Calvin Booth right after. So I don't know what happened really with that whole thing, but either way, I think firing Michael Malone is ridiculous. He's, at least in my opinion, he's one of the best coaches in the league. and I think firing Calvin Booth makes a lot more sense than firing firing Michael Malone. With that being said, though, I don't know what's really going on with Denver. I don't know everything. I know a lot of Denver fans are out there that know a lot more than me. So from the outside looking in, I think it's one of the stupidest decisions ever, and firing Michael Malone right before a playoff series. Firing Calvin Booth kind of makes some sense to me. Like, I'm not saying it's like, easy decision or anything like that, but I think it kind of makes some sense to me. But I am also aware that Calvin Booth was up for an extension after this year, so he was on an expiring contract. So the fact that they fired him now is not that shocking, knowing that, because that means that they don't have to pay him next season or anything like that. So they just have to pay the rest of his contract for the rest of this year, and then they'll be looking for a new general manager. So ideally, they try to steal AK back, which would be stupid as hell by Denver, but I'm hoping it does happen because I want AK gone. But yeah, so either way, though, it's going to be funny to watch where Michael Malone goes, because I think he's going to San Antonio. If you're wondering, I think Michael Malone is going to be one of the most sought-after head coaches for teams that are trying to actively go and win now. He won't be on to Sacramento because he's been there before, and that was a whole travesty. But for a team like San Antonio, with Greg Popovich's health up in the air, I personally would think that they're going to be going heavily after Michael Malone, and Michael Malone's going to go from one Hall of Fame center to then potentially other Hall of Fame center if Wembanyama is back and healthy. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to transpire, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Spurs throw the bag at him for that, which would be a pretty good decision. If you're wondering about if I would want Michael Malone here for the Bulls, if the Bulls were actually going to go and try and win, then I would love Michael Malone here. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. But because the Bulls, at least in my opinion, should not be actively trying to win next season, and they need to still be looking to rebuild, then I would be like, no, don't go and get him. Either way, the Bulls are not going to fire Billy Donovan anytime soon. They clearly love him. And there's no way in hell the Bulls are going to be paying two head coaches at once, in terms of how much money both those guys would be getting. So it's not going to happen, unfortunately, for the Bulls. Even if the Bulls were actively going to try to win, I still don't think it would happen, because the Bulls don't want to pay multiple head coaches at the same time. But if the Bulls were trying to win, then I would be off like, hey, go and get him. Like, fire Billy Donovan tomorrow and go and get Michael Malone the next day. Throw a blank check at him, for God's sake. But because the Bulls, at least in my opinion, should not be trying to win, and should be actively rebuilding and try to get young talent on the roster, then I don't want Michael Malone sitting here for that. I think he should go and try to win with his new organization personally. So yeah, kind of very shocking overall thing that happened. I'm not sure what the whole plan is for Denver. They clearly need to figure their shit out, though, because Jokic is one of the best players we've seen of all time, and we're witnessing kind of some of his years, at least, like, maybe you can argue last year, but then definitely this year, where the team around him just isn't enough. I know Jamal Murray looks better than last season, but like, I just, I don't know how he's going to kind of do in the playoffs here. Michael Porter Jr. has not turned into maybe the all-star that they envisioned, but probably wasn't supposed to do that anyway. But their overall kind of depth as a roster is pretty bad. There's a lot of guys that are playing in the rotation right now for Denver that are just not rotational players on a playoff caliber team, but they look decent because Jokic is Jokic. And so, I understand why maybe Michael Malone was pissed off at Calvin Booth, because it's just like, bro, like, I need help here, and you let Bruce Brown walked, and he got paid the bag, so sure. KCP also walked to Orlando. I understand that these new luxury tax rules kind of kill teams like Denver, but you would hope that someone like Calvin Booth is able to go out and work his magic, because he's Calvin Booth, and try to figure out and get some value for some guys, and they have made some pretty bad decisions, I won't lie. So I'm not shocked that if Michael Malone's pissed at him, and at the end of the day, I do think that them going after, or kind of saying that Calvin Booth has done a bad job is not shocking. However, I think that you just fired one of the best coaches in the league, like, by far. I think you by far just fired one of the best coaches in the league. Just a guy that I think his offense is incredible. His defense is also something I think is pretty underrated. I really don't like what just happened to Michael Malone, because I feel like this is a guy that he is, as much as I give credit to the players for that championship run, I do think that he was kind of integral to that run. He put the players in the proper positions to succeed, and you just fired him after 2 years. So, very odd. This is one of the guys that I look at as one of the premier coaches in the league that understands the best of his players, and you just decide to let that guy go. So, not sure about that whole decision. You'll also be paying his massive contract that you gave him for the next however many years that is. I don't know how many years it is, but you'll be paying him that. So good luck. Good luck trying to find a coach that's going to be as good as him. Hope this doesn't mean that it's over for Jokic in Denver, but it could be. Jokic might be the guy on the market soon. I don't think it will happen, but it could. We'll see what happens here. The Cavs now the favorites in the East. Anthony, I think if you ask kind of different people, they'll have different answers. For me, I still think Boston comes out of the East. If I had to make a guess today, I would choose Boston personally. If I, just the way that I always kind of look at it, I think Boston will win. But I think the Cavs are definitely my number 2, and that always gives them a shot. So I hope to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Besides those 4 stars, though, I and Trey are out too. Imagine if those 3 are available. I could imagine. I don't think they beat the Cavs. I don't think they beat the Celtics either. So personally, I don't think Lonzo's gonna be here for the rest of the season. He seems to be out. We know Trey Jones and Io are most likely going to be out. I mean, Io's out for the season. Trey Jones, I don't see him at any point coming back anytime soon. So sure, we could imagine, but either way, I'm not going to. You're kind of dealt the cards you're dealt. So go and make the best of it, personally. Would love them to get a ring without LeBron. It would be cool to see. I just don't know if this is the year for them, unfortunately. I think the Celtics are still going to be the juggernaut in the East, but that's just my opinion. I imagine the GM would at least run a head coach firing by ownership before pulling the trigger right before the playoffs. I mean, I don't know, though. Like, we've seen weird things happen, AV Breeze. You would think, right? But we've seen weird things happen. So it probably is just the Denver ownership was pissed off how the season went and just decided to fire both of them. But I mean, who knows, right? We don't really know how this all went down. So I'm looking forward to get more information as it comes out. Nice theory. Yeah. I don't know, but Boston versus Cavs Eastern Conference, I'll be rooting for Boston. I really dislike Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Migs, I know that you have your Donovan Mitchell dislike. I don't really care who wins that, honestly, but I do think that Boston, I think Boston will win, but I don't really care who wins it. It'll be interesting to watch, for sure, because I think it's 2 completely different teams, right? I think that Boston is very heavily reliant on their forwards that are their superstars. The Cleveland Cavaliers are very heavily reliant on their backcourt to kind of really create everything. And then Boston has a very different style of defense than Cleveland. Like Cleveland has the interior bigs, the paint protection. Boston has their own form of paint protection, but they rely on their versatility and their perimeter defense to really carry them. So it's a very different sort of, matchup between those two. It's not like the only real similarity is just that both teams really generate a lot of 3-point shots. Boston is very clear at the top, but yeah, no, I think it's honestly a matchup between 2 different teams, and I'll be looking forward to it if it does happen. But they have to get to that point, which we don't know. I think that the Pacers are going to be an interesting matchup for some of these teams, and if the Pistons are going to go out and play well, I mean, who knows? So I think unfortunately Milwaukee is not in a good spot because they don't have Lillard. But I'll be interested, man. I think it's gonna be a fun overall playoff series. And of course, once again, I'm just gonna remind everybody, I have not mentioned the Knicks for a reason. I genuinely believe the Knicks are a fraud team, but that's just my opinion at the end of the day. And I'm sure they're gonna find a way to the finals this year because I said that. So I think that unfortunately, I just don't believe the Knicks are gonna be making it. But that's just my opinion at the end of the day. I don't have any faith in Tibbs and his rotations and the players being fresh at the end of the season. Why the Cavs work better with Garland over Mitchell? What do you mean by that, Viper Strike? Because I would disagree with that statement overall. I think a lot of people are kind of underestimating how good of a year Donovan Mitchell has had. Because the numbers aren't exactly eye-popping, but he's had a really good season. They have better lineups numbers with Garland for some reason. The reason why that's the case is because Mitchell leads the second unit. If you watch the Cavaliers and their rotations, Mitchell's the second unit leader. He plays in the second unit. So it's not that shocking to me then that he's in the second unit. You're facing other second units, and second units are they're more evenly matched. So that's not that shocking to me, at least. The starting lineup obviously has been fantastic all season long. But yeah, that's not that shocking to me. So again, if you're wondering, when Mitchell is in the lineup, then you see he plays a lot with the second unit, therefore his numbers might drop in that sense. Yeah, I overall though still think that Mitchell's had a really good year. Like, this guy's been an integral part of their season, and he's been honestly a lot of games for the Cavs. He's been kind of the main guy, and I mean that not in the sense of like being like the point guard, but just like being like the main ball handler, main shot creator. He's the guy that kind of is leading the charge, and so it's a lot of emphasis on him to kind of go out, obviously performing in the playoffs, which he's done that in his career. He's gone out and had some good performances in the playoffs. He also had some bad ones, but it's gonna be a lot on his shoulders. He has to go and be a superstar, at least in my opinion, because I think that it's specifically talking about the Celtics matchup, but it's either he has to go and be the superstar, or Mobley has to get to really step up in the playoff series. But we'll see. It's gonna be fun to watch. Do you think you watch Mitchell work with the stars and Garland with the second unit? Kind of weird having your main guy doing that. I actually don't think it's that weird, just because I think that Mitchell is better on ball than Garland is. I really think that Mitchell, when it comes to him and his overall on ball creation, like, the second unit really needs him, versus if you put Garland in that sort of sense. Like, Garland, while he has the shot creating ability, he just has been kind of more of like the off guard, kind of like more catch and shoot sort of style for him this year. So you're then kind of asking him to kind of switch between those sort of roles. And so you're going to put the guy who you would argue is better with the ball in his hands in the second unit, because the second unit needs that, right? The second unit needs that sort of kind of ball dominant creator with them. So the first unit with Garland, right, with both of them, obviously it's lethal, but if you just take Mitchell out, then you still have Mobley, and you still have then Jarrett Allen, who's your best pick and roll partner, with Garland out there. So I overall think it's fine. Honestly, I kind of like the way that they've kind of run things with Cleveland. Mobley also has had some moments in the second unit as like kind of the backup center. So I also don't know, maybe that's just kind of like the combination they kind of want to run out there, is like you put Mitchell and Mobley kind of more together, and then you have Garland and Allen together a lot more. Maybe that's just kind of Kenny Atkinson's way. But I overall, I'm not going to question it, because it's done them wonders this year. Are his numbers worse than the last two seasons? Mitchell? Oh yeah, for sure. I think the overall like points per game and then some of his efficiency has been a little bit down, but I don't think that really tells everything about Mitchell this season. I think he's really kind of taken the mantle as like, I'm the main shot creator for this team. And I think he's been pretty big with it. And overall, again, like he's leading some of the second units, which I don't know if they did that last season. I don't really remember, but him kind of leading those second units has been kind of the stabilizing force for, like Ty Jerome and Dean Wade and others kind of stepping up. But he's been huge for them. Leading Knicks has a good chance to beat Boston, but when you have a coach like Tom that runs the players to the ground, health is going to hurt them. Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I don't think the Knicks are going to beat Boston. That's kind of my main reason why. But also just Jalen Brunson is kind of another thing. Do you see any upsets in the East? Honestly, I mean, the one team that I think is the big, like, kind of wild card is going to be the Pistons, which, you know, whether they face the Knicks in the first round, I think that's, like, kind of maybe the big upset coming. But other than that, I mean, I don't really consider the 4-5 matchup really that big of an upset. But if the Pistons beat the Knicks, which I think is a legit possibility of happening, I think that is the one upset I can see coming. Other than that, though, I don't really see it. Like, I think the East is going to be pretty chalk. But if we lose to Miami tomorrow, what do you think the reason would be? That's a loaded question. I think there's many reasons why you could lose to Miami tomorrow. It could be that Miami gets hot from 3-point range. It could be that you play poor defense. It could be that Giddey and Kobe don't have good games, and it could be that Bam Adebayo has the best game of the year. So, like, I don't really know how to answer that question. If in terms of what you're expecting from Miami tomorrow, I'm expecting a team that's going to really try to shoot a lot of shots from the Bulls and kind of look at what the Cleveland Cavaliers did tonight and just go after guys in the perimeter and just launch their threes. I'm going to also assume that the Miami Heat are going to try to keep up with the pace with the Bulls a little bit better and try to go out and get some transition opportunities. But in terms of, again, like, why do I think, like, what do you think the reason specifically would be why we lose tomorrow? That could be a bunch of stuff. Like, who knows, right? Like, it could be that, you know, some random player off the Miami Heat bench, like Hayward Highsmith, has his best game of the season and puts up 30. Like, I don't know. But I mean, in terms of what I expect, then we'll see. Like, I expect the Heat are going to put up a lot of threes. I think the Heat are going to try to play up a little bit better to the Bulls' tempo. And I think they're going to really try to muck up the half court game for the Bulls and try to limit as many transition opportunities for the Bulls specifically. But then on the other end of the floor, they're going to try to outrun the Bulls and try to get some transition points so they don't have to face the Bulls' defense. Not questioning either for the sake of winning. I just think it's weird you have your main guy running your second unit is all. I mean, I don't think it's that weird. I mean, Giannis runs the second unit for the Bucks. We've seen when Embiid is healthy, he also runs the second unit. Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of, like, those sort of kind of like teams where you have your best player run your second unit. If you want to consider DeMar DeRozan the best player when he was here out of the mid three, then DeMar DeRozan ran the second unit with the Bulls. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly that surprised by it, if you're wondering. I think the combinations kind of work out well. Just to, like, you kind of have to look at, like, how certain players are and kind of then your bench players, how they fit in, right? That's not me saying that Garland with the bench players would be bad, but I look at the bench unit for the Cleveland Cavaliers and I see a bunch of shooters on that bench unit, and a bunch of guys that really spread the floor and look to get up their threes. Dean Wade obviously is kind of playing a forward position, but he's mostly just a 3-point shooter. And so I would then think in my head, oh, I need a guy that needs to penetrate the defense and look to kick out to these shooters out there. And I think Mitchell's better at that than Garland. So it just kind of makes a lot of sense, at least in my head. I like New York Flocks at all. Cat and Brunson should be allowed on the same team. Crybabies. I'm not saying they're crybabies. I'm just, like, my whole theory still, which has, you know, what other people have repeated, is just, like, can you win as, like, your main guy is, like, your main superstar is a small guy? Like, can you really win and, you know, advance against, like, some of the teams that have, like, you know, bigger superstars on the roster? So, like, if, for example, the Knicks happen to face the Bucks in the first round, which is possible, right? 3 versus 6. Like, I mean, even without Lillard, like, your best player, at least in my opinion, is Giannis, and he's a 7-foot demigod that can go out and score over anybody. Versus Jalen Brunson, who's a 6-foot guard that has had an incredible season and is an incredible player, but it's just in the playoffs things slow down. Defense is locked in. Like, can your 6-foot guard go out and still perform? It's just kind of the thought. Like, again, in history, the only two teams that have one out and one with the small guard as their main guy is Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons. So, and we're talking about championships. But Who knows, right? It's just kind of always my theory. Now, granted, again, maybe Cat turns into that superstar. If Cat ends up being the best player for the Knicks, then that's a whole different story. But I kind of feel like if Cat is your best player for the Knicks in the series, then I don't have much faith in the New York Knicks to win that series. That at least kind of tells me that Jalen Brunson's having a bad season or a bad series. So there's that. Now, if you're wondering about like the Cavaliers, I've kind of said it. Like it's the same thing. Like I don't know if the Cleveland Cavaliers can go out and win a championship with Donovan Mitchell being their best player. However, I've had the caveat that if Evan Mobley turns into their best player, then I think they have a legit shot. And I don't mean that he has to be their best scorer, but I mean that he is the best impactful player. Like he'll put up 20, 10 rebounds, give you 3 blocks or whatever. Then he's your best player. He's going to go out and be your best player and have the most impact overall. And he might be able to lead you. So overall, though, I don't have much faith in the Knicks. Tom Thibodeau, with the way that he's played his team into the ground with minutes, and he's not changing his ways because he's Tom Thibodeau. That's not shocking me whatsoever, and I think there's going to be another whole repeat of like, okay, well, we're too tired come postseason, and guys are just gassed, and you have to face the Pistons or Bucks team in the first round, and good luck. But yeah, I mean, I think Brunson and Cat are great in their own respects. Do I take Brunson over Giannis? No. Do I take Brunson over Cade Cunningham? Yeah, I mean, I probably would for now, but it's important that the rest of the team is also up to par. I don't believe in the Pistons personally. I don't blame you. I think obviously this Pistons team is young. Cade Cunningham is going to go and be playing his first postseason basketball ever, so I don't blame you personally. But I just have no faith in the New York Knicks. Like, me saying that the Knicks might lose to the Pistons in the first round, that's me saying how much less faith I have in the Knicks versus how much more faith I have in the Pistons. Like, I don't have, like, much faith the Pistons are going to, like, come out and, like, be in the conference finals. But, can they beat the New York Knicks because I think the Knicks are frauds? Yeah, I think they could. I would love to see it. Now will be extra rested. Did he not play yesterday? I did not look at that box score. If Bam didn't play yesterday, then he'll be extra rested for tomorrow, which is not a good thing for the Bulls. No, the ways the Bulls know how to lose the game. I mean, like, what specifically do you think it'd be? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I answered that. Hey, with Denver Nuggets firing the head coach, do you see AK getting on the phone trying to get Mike to join the Bulls staff? I answered this earlier, Unstoppable. I don't think so. Multiple reasons. Main reason being is that the Ryan Source are not going to be paying for 2 head coaches that are getting paid a lot of money. We know Billy Donovan's contract at least is hefty. We don't know the exact numbers, but we know it's a big chunk of money. That means, though, if you're going to go and get Michael Malone, right, that means you have to fire Billy Donovan, which means you're paying the rest of his contract, and you have to go pay Michael Malone a new contract when he's going to be one of the most sought-after head coaches in the league. So I just, knowing from a financial standpoint, the Ryan Source would not be happy paying 2 head coaches a lot of money when one isn't there even, you know, working for them. So there's just no shot that's going to happen. I also just think that if the Bulls are going to be actively rebuilding, then at least in my opinion, I don't want Michael Malone here because I want Michael Malone here on a winning team. If the Bulls are going to go and try to be good, though, then yes, you should absolutely, if financial restrictions are not upon you, you should absolutely be going after Michael Malone right now. Hell, get him here tomorrow, which wouldn't happen, but I would be throwing a blank check on Michael Malone if I was trying to go and win right now. But I don't see it happening. The Bulls are too loyal to Billy Donovan. The front office loves Billy Donovan. The front office is loved by the ownership. Therefore, nothing's going to change. So if Michael Malone is hired by the Bulls this offseason, I will be, 1, throwing a party, but 2, like, one of the probably in utter shock. In just what I would have witnessed at that point. It's just like I would be so shocked that it happened. If the Bulls somehow went and hired Michael Malone in the offseason, I'd be thrilled. If the Bulls are going after, you know, if they're going to go and try to make this team good and you know, get a good draft pick and get Cooper Flagg or something like that. But if you're not going to go and do that, then I don't want really Michael Malone here because I feel it's just wasting him at that point. Team USA Bam is showing up tomorrow. Law 3-point specialist. If the Bulls lose tomorrow from a Bam 3-point shot, that'd be crazy. If Edris Adebayo hits a 3-point shot because that makes the Bulls lose tomorrow, then I'm gonna just be laughing in everyone's faces for that. I'll be happy because then we're below Miami in the standings. But I'll also be laughing at all the Bulls fans that said, "Oh, we'll win tomorrow. Don't worry, we're gonna win tomorrow," and then we don't win tomorrow. That'd be awesome. You may not be saying, but I am just as bad as LeBron. To be fair, Cat's an offensive beast, just sucks so bad at defense. Oh, Cat is definitely an offensive beast. I agree with you though that defensively, I have no faith. What debate that is? I respect this down offensively. Oh, Cat is by far one of the best offensive players in the league. Like that's not even a question. It's just that I don't think that he's a guy that I'm gonna be fully relying on in a playoff series because I think he is a little bit on the perimeter too much. But then again, defensively, that's a problem. I said Jokic is the only center with bad defense I would build around, but I honestly would take Cat over Sabonis personally. I would also take that. Now, granted, again, I would not build around Sabonis or Cat, right? Those two guys would have to be like the second star, or in Sabonis' case, maybe in the third guy, right? I would not build around either of those guys. But would I, if I had my main guy and then I want to pair them with a really good big man, then absolutely I would want Cat over Sabonis, and then Sabonis would be probably your third idea. But you would have to have a really good defensive perimeter or good perimeter defense around Sabonis to win. But yeah, I mean, if you're building it around any bad defensive center, it is only Jokic and Jokic alone. After that, I don't really think there's anybody else. Was Zion not the one a look at Pat starting next to Matas in the last 2 games for the play-in? At least in my opinion, no. I would personally just keep Kevin Huerter in the starting lineup, assuming that Lonzo is not here. I would just start Kevin Huerter still. I would much rather just have the 3-point shooting out there that hopefully he's going to continue bringing. But also just knowing that he's not going to commit like multiple turnovers that are bad. So I personally would not put Pat out there if Kevin Huerter is available. Bobby, the one to say I hope the Bulls lose tomorrow if it increases their chance to get a better pick. Hey, you're with me, Unstoppable. That's the way I look at it. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it does help their odds of staying below Miami, right? If you have a worse record than Miami, and then both you and Miami are eliminated in the play-in, then you have a better chance of getting a better pick over Miami. So that's just the way I personally look at it. I don't want this Bulls team in the playoffs. I don't think it helps them. So look, I'm not saying the Bulls are going to get a top 4 pick, but if you are below Miami, you have a higher chance than Miami to get a top 4 pick than Miami. So yeah, definitely not going to be upset at that idea. But I would look for the Bulls to go and tomorrow I mean, I already know the Bulls are going to be trying their hardest tomorrow. Like, that's not even a question. The Bulls are going to go out tomorrow and they're going to be trying their damn hardest to win that game because it's a huge game for them. If they're actively going to be trying to make the playoffs, then this is one of the biggest games of the season because winning this game helps kind of solidify that you're going to be probably above Miami in the standings. So at worst, you'll get as 9. But as always, like I said at the start of the stream, you could lose tomorrow, which is the reason why I feel like resting your guys tonight is one of the dumbest decisions in the world. If you try to play tonight, then there was a chance that you could jump up to 8 then, and even to 7. And if you're wondering about the odds, like coming into tonight, the odds were like you had a 28% chance of getting the 8th overall pick, or sorry, 8th overall seed. And then you had like a 40+% chance of getting the 9 seed anyway. But you still had a 4% chance of getting the 7 seed. So it's like, hey, maybe you want to try, right? Like try and get those odds. Like if you want a chance of getting the playoffs, getting the playoff spot, then go and try to win this game tonight. Because there's no guarantee you win tomorrow. But they decided, no, we're going to rest tonight. We're going to lose tonight. And then all our eggs are in the basket tomorrow. Because if we lose tomorrow, then there's a really good chance we're the 10th seed. So good luck. It's still not guaranteed, obviously, because the Heat would have to still continue to win. The Bulls would have to stay below Miami in that sense. We have the tiebreaker over the Heat, but it would just be odd, you know. It'd just be very funny if the Bulls happen to lose tomorrow, which is why I would love if the Bulls will lose tomorrow so that they are below Miami in the standings. So and go lose the playing game, you're below Miami in the standings, which means that for Tankathon you're in a better spot. Also, by the way, the other team we have to keep in mind is Phoenix, because right now we're above Phoenix in the overall standings. So in a perfect world, you need to go and get below Phoenix, so any L helps. So you can get the 10th overall, best odds of getting the first overall pick. So go and lose and get below Phoenix would be fantastic. And even getting below, you know, Portland would be great, which is probably not going to happen at this point, because you're probably gonna beat Washington and Philly here in the last 2 games. But losing against Miami would greatly increase your chances of you getting below Phoenix. But I know Phoenix is also, they're having the struggles because Durant is out and they're struggling mightily. So I would personally love that if they would get below Phoenix, but it's probably not going to happen. So most likely the standings are to probably be like this, but I want to make sure that we're below Miami in the overall standings, and then above Miami in the Tankathon. That'd be ideal, at least in my opinion. So yeah, hopefully it's going to work out this way. I know this is not correct right now because we have the tiebreaker over Miami, so we should be in number 12. But I hope the season, at bare minimum, it ends this way, where you see the Bulls at 11 and Miami at 12 to end the Tankathon. So that's that. Absolutely not 1 out of 50 games. Yeah, I agree. I know, Pat, this is by far Pat's best game of the season. 20 points tonight, or 21 points tonight. So the first 20-point game of the season for Pat. Again, I understand that, like, hey, nice game tonight. And I understand it was against Cleveland's, you know, main guys, except for Donovan Mitchell. So props to him. He went out and performed against a playoff caliber team. And he hit his 3-point shots when he was open. So good job there. That's still not enough for me to go ahead and say, yeah, let's try to see how him and Buzelis play in the starting lineup tomorrow. If the Bulls are going to go and try to win tomorrow, you don't want Pat in the starting lineup in the first place. If it were up to me, then sure, yeah, by all means, just go and put him out there, see what happens. But I think for the Bulls, there's no shot. There's no chance that you're going to put Pat in the starting lineup tomorrow, especially if Herter is available. So, have you started watching draft prospects? So, again, the only people I've really started looking at was Malik, and then Derek Queen a little bit. I really have not taken the time, so I'm very behind on this. I do apologize, but I have a lot going on right now. And so when Bulls games officially do end, which whenever that's going to be, I don't know when it's going to be, right? Assuming that we do lose the playing games, which would be great, then that's going to be kind of like, instead of me doing, obviously, watching Bulls games and then also doing this, then that's going to be my time to really take, to look into some of the scouting I can do. So, yeah, I unfortunately, I'm not really there. I've checked in on, I've read a few scouting reports on some people. I have not really taken the time to watch guys myself, though, like, overall, for a long time. So, because if you're wondering, like, last offseason when the draft was coming around, like, I was heavily watching Devin Carter games. I was heavily watching Ron Holland film. Like, I was heavily watching some people, but that was obviously right before the draft happened. So, you know, there's not a lot going on except for the NBA Finals. So, yeah, it's not really my time just yet for that. But I will get to it. I promise you. What they can do tomorrow is not play your starters. I would also do that unstoppable. I would not play my starters tomorrow, but that is not what the Bulls are going to go and do. Missed it, but did we talk about how Montes actually looked good in those short stint playing point? We did, Viper Strike. Yes, we did talk about that a little bit. I was really happy to see him kind of initiating the offense. And he really does look comfortable off the pick and roll like set. Like I'm really heavily surprised, but pleasantly surprised that he's navigating the pick and roll really nicely. But we also saw today some of those opportunities where he just ISO'd, right? We saw him just be like, all right, like, I have a matchup, at least in his opinion, that he thought he could take, and he was just like, clear out. Like, let me get this matchup, and let me see if I can just take him off the dribble. And again, it didn't always result in the box score. Like, he had 5 assists tonight, but I do think he could have probably gotten 7 or 8 tonight if guys just either took some shots or were in better positions or just knocked the shots down. That's what I was like, bro, like, this is great. So, yeah, he might honestly be my only hope, assuming the Bulls don't get a top 4 pick this upcoming draft. He might be my only hope in terms of, like, hey, we might have a superstar in our hands. I personally would still not put him there, but if he can become any sort of on-ball creator or sort of initiate offense, bro, then, oh my god, it's going to help this team moving forward tremendously. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah, man. He also then, during the middle of this whole kind of, like, point stuff that he was running, he also then had a possession where he hit a 3 where he came off, like, it wasn't necessarily, like, floppy action, right? But we saw him kind of come off like a curl, and he just took it, like, immediately in rhythm, fast release, catch and shoot 3 at the top of the key. Like, that's awesome to see as well. Like, that's a great sign moving forward, because that's going to probably be some action. If you're going to put him in the pick and roll set, that's kind of like a handoff action where if the guy goes under the screen, you better be ready to launch that 3-point shot. And so to see that was great. I know that, yeah, Tyler just mentioned the lobs that Buzelis was throwing in transition to both Jalen Smith and Zach Collins tonight was awesome to see. Which is just funny to me, because it's like Matas might be the best lob catcher, like lob receiver and finishing the lob, but he might also, in a sense, he might be one of the better guys throwing lobs on this roster, which is ridiculous. Guys need to be better throwing lobs, bro. Giddey is probably the best lob thrower, or maybe it's Lonzo, honestly, but either way, guys got to get better throwing lobs. But Buzelis was able to throw 2 easily tonight to Collins and Smith, which is just like, why is he able to do that, but yet Patrick Williams can't do that? Dalen Terry has not been able to do that all season long. Like, guys got to be better at that. At throwing lobs, man. Losing increases your chance at a higher draft, but this doesn't mean you'll get the best player in the draft. It does not mean you get the best player in the draft, Migs. But I would much rather have the 11th overall pick than the 12th, and I would much rather have a higher chance of jumping to the top 4 than a lower chance of jumping to the top 4, which is all that it is, right? It's not anything spectacular, right? But you can just see here, if you have the 11th overall pick versus the 12th, or 11th best chance over the 12th, like, you have a higher percent chance of jumping to the top 4. You just do. But if you have the 12th, you just have a lower. It just is what it is. It's not by much. I'm not saying it's like anything spectacular, but I would much rather have that opportunity versus you going to the playoffs and then you getting the 15th overall pick at best. Which is just like, I don't, like, that's worse than 11th, that's worse than 12th, and you have no shot at jumping to the top 4. So no matter what, again, I don't think this Bulls team in the playoffs is going to make any sort of noise. If this Bulls team, I thought, would actually give Cleveland a run for their money and, like, make Cleveland work, then, you know what, yeah, go and make the playoffs and try to get the good playoff experience. My only problem is just that I think if you make the playoffs this year, you're going to get smoked, and therefore you'll have maybe, like, every single game you'll maybe get like 30 minutes of good basketball, of like good playoff basketball, and the other 18 is just going to be blowout. Like, if you want your team to get a good playoff experience, then I want you to actually be in competitive games. I unfortunately think that if you go and face the Celtics or the Cavs, I don't know how much competitive basketball you're actually going to be seeing. I just don't know. Like, that's my only thing. I'm like, I don't know how much competitive basketball you're actually going to see in these games. I think you're just going to get smoked in a lot of them, especially the games on the road, which is funny because it's just like we've been better on the road. But I mean, these teams that are at the top of the conference, man, like they have some of the best records, especially Cleveland at home. So I really don't have any faith that you're going to be playing some good basketball on the road. So you've been pretty bad at home all season. So I don't know, bro. I really just don't see a benefit to me. I would much rather you just go and lose the playing game, have a good chance, like better chance of getting a higher overall pick. But either way, you're gonna stay at that. You know, you're gonna stay in the lottery range at worst. So, you know, I would much rather have that, and hopefully you pick 11th or 12th versus you picking 15th and you got smoked in the first round. So that's just my opinion. I specifically exclude tomorrow. I said the last 2 games against Philly slash Washington. Oh, I see what you're saying, AB Breeze. Either way, still no. I don't think it's really. I mean, again, if it was up to me, I would personally do it. If it's up to those guys, I don't think it would happen because they're trying to win those games because they need to win those games after resting tonight. Daniels last week the games should not start pay. Look good in 1 game out of 50. I wouldn't say 1 game out of 50, but it's definitely been very few games out of the 50 games he's played has been good. Really want to see him make the playoffs, but I know we have a different take on that. I'll just take the chances on drafting outside the lottery. My overall thought process of that though is just that I think that this is a really interesting draft where a lot of people think that this draft has good overall like players. Like it's kind of like wow, like the first 5 are great. I don't know how legit that is, but kind of similarly to how Buzelis kind of fell in the last draft. Like maybe someone falls, right? And I would much rather if someone is falling, then I would much rather you have the 11th overall pick versus the 15th, because I don't know if you get that guy at number 15. Like let's just be honest with ourselves. Do the Bulls get Buzelis at 15th overall last draft? Probably not, right? The fact that Buzelis dropped out of the top 5 was insane, but you want to be in that sort of spot where it's like, hey, maybe someone fell. Like, maybe you get the 15th overall pick. Or sorry, maybe you get the 11th overall pick and you get him at 11. Like, that's the ideal scenario. Like, Donovan Mitchell, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, Mitchell was 11th or was he 13th? I always forget this with Mitchell. But I think it was 13th. So again, you still want to be in the lottery. Yeah, it's 13th, but Mitchell was supposed to go like 11. Like if you remember, I don't know if you guys remember this on draft night, but the Charlotte Hornets were dead set on drafting Donovan Mitchell at 11, and then Malik Monk fell to 11, and so Malik Monk was selected at 11 by the Hornets, and then Mitchell fell to the Nuggets, who then traded Donovan Mitchell to the Jazz. So like, there's always, no matter what, you always want a higher draft pick. I don't really like, especially for this team that is very clearly in not a winning stage at the moment. You always want a higher draft pick. You always do. So yeah, I'm just like, bro, you need to go and get that higher draft pick, no matter what. If you're not going to be a contender this year. Well, Max Collab to himself. Oh, if only, bro. I would love that. So we have both the Slob Wizard and Matas the Lob Wizard. Yeah, honestly, on both ends. Well, I see them push it game 6 or 7, but I don't see it happening when they both killed us this all year. I mean, we beat the Celtics in TD Garden, granted, but that was with Levine. So I don't really know how you want to take that one. But then we also got wrecked at home the following day. So I don't have much faith, honestly. Luka got ejected with 1 point game in the 4th, followed by 24-8 OKC run. Ooh, wow, man, that's actually crazy. So I was keeping track of this game a little bit, but yeah, it looks like all right. So Shannon Sharp is now suddenly quieted for a little bit, but I mean, granted, Luka did get ejected for whatever reason. So, ooh, I don't know, man. I know that the Thunder lost to the Lakers the other day. I just don't put much stock in that one. Hence tonight, but I guess Luka did get ejected, so it is whatever you think. So archetype do you think Matas can be in the NBA? The archetype is gonna be odd. Like, I don't really know. Part of me thinks that he can be an Aaron Gordon plus, right? So I've always kind of said this, like, a very good defensive overall forward. So if you're wondering about Aaron Gordon's overall like scoring numbers, which are not spectacular, but like he does put up some numbers in the scoring department. So he's 14 points per game. His rebounding's taking a dip this year, but like he's averaged like 6-7-ish rebounds throughout his career. And just a guy that is a really good defender on both the perimeter and the interior. Scoring a little bit more on the perimeter, but good defender on the perimeter and the interior. And is a guy that can be maybe your third option in a sense. But a forward that can sort of handle the ball and kind of be put in sort of some of those situations, but his main value is probably on the defensive end and his hustle and everything kind of else that he does with the little things. However, though, with what I've seen, I think that Buzelis' 3-point shots can be better than Gordon's, because if you're like, I know Gordon's shooting 45% for 3-point range this year. Don't put much stock into that. He's a career 33% 3-point shooter. I don't like 45% this year is nothing to me. It's just that this is just kind of one of those like really interesting years for him. It's like, wow, 3-point percentage jumped significantly, even though you're not taking much more. You're a career 33% 3-point shooter. It's not like he's going to be that for here on out. But I think Buzelis will be a better 3-point shooter than this in his career, than 33%. But I also think that he's going to be a better shot blocker, so a better interior defender, and it seems like he's going to be able to put up more points per game. So if you're talking about archetype, then I think that, hey, we might actually have a potentially, and this is, I say this just saying potentially, I'm not saying this is what he's going to become, but we might have a all-around kind of 3-level scorer forward, okay? An all-around player, which means I'm talking about both sides of the ball, so he's a good offensive player and defensive player, and then also potentially he could be a 3-level scorer. Like, he could get there, which would be fantastic, because then we might genuinely be looking at a superstar. He has that in him, like, potentially there. I just, if you want my more realistic kind of expectation of him, I think you're going to see a really good shot blocker forward, okay, with who's also pretty solid on the perimeter. So like, but he's gonna have more of an emphasis of being a shot blocker instead of like an all-around like goated perimeter, like all-around like goated defensive guy. And then for the offensive end, I think he's gonna kind of be more of like a 2-level type of scorer, where you gonna, and I say 2-level in terms of like a average 2-level scorer, where we're gonna see that he's gonna be able to get, make some shots in the interior, make some shots in the perimeter, but he really doesn't have that 3rd level of like, I can score kind of wherever on the floor, which is like mid-range kind of area, but also more in a sense of, can you go and create your own shot? That's kind of where I'm like, I don't know, like that. I kind of think he's going to be more of a shot blocker than like a good perimeter defender, but then I kind of see him like an 18 point per game scorer instead of oh yeah, he's going to be leading your offense. So I don't know. It's going to be kind of tough to kind of look at when it comes to him, because I think that he might end up being something we haven't seen before, but that does not mean that I think he's going to turn into some superstar that we haven't seen before. I think he just might be a guy that has a lot of impact, but is not necessarily a superstar in this sort of archetype. SGA was 11, I think. SGA was 11, yes. The Hornets drafted him. Clippers traded for him. Clippers had back-to-back picks. They picked Jerome Robinson with number 13. Down to lose the playing game and get the number 1 pick like Atlanta. It's our turn this year. Hey, yeah, that'd be great, right? Playoff experience on Big Game and Kobe White will have a great run in the playoffs, and maybe Gio will redeem himself having a bad series last time. But here's the thing, though, with that idea, Migs. Why can't Giddey go and do that like 2 years down the road? Like, he's 22. I don't think he needs to have the playoff experience now. I just don't. Like, if let's say, for example, the Bulls get to the playoffs in 2 years down the road, then he'll be 24 and he'll get the playoff experience then. Like, I don't need him to have the playoff experience now. Like, that's the whole point where I'm just like, I don't really need him to get it. Like, same thing with Buzelis. Like, I don't need Buzelis to get the playoff experience now. If anything, I'm kind of concerned that the playoff experience might hurt them, because it's like, if let's say you go and get smoked by the Cavs, or the Celtics, like, I don't know what it's going to really do to these guys. Like, it might honestly kind of mess them up mentally, or it's just going to be like, it's going to be non-competitive basketball. Like, it's not going to really be good playoff experience. So I don't really see the benefit personally. You're not winning the series. So I'm like, okay, well then if you're not going to win the series or even give them like a good run, then let's just lose the playing game. That's fine. You'll get the playoff experience down the road. Like, if you're telling me that if Josh Giddey gets his, more playoff experience, which would not be his first, reminder, because he played in the playoffs last season, but it would, if you're telling me that if Josh Giddey at 24 years old is too old to get playoff experience at 24, like, he should have got it at a younger age, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's not too old whatsoever. Like, that's fine. He's 24. He'll be okay. So Same thing at 25. Like, I know Kobe's 25 this year, but like, I'm not freaking out about him getting playoff experience. He's already had playoff experience already. I don't need him to get more. And he'll get more if he's still on the team moving forward. So, personally, I'm not freaking out about it. Like, I'm really not freaking out too much about the playoff experience idea. Reminder again, Kobe's had playoff experience. He, was in the Milwaukee Bucks series that we lost in 5. So, I'm personally fine just going ahead and we just lose the playing game. Hey, did the Hawks lose the playing game then jump to the number 1 pick last year? Yes, that is exactly what Tyler just said. The Hawks lost to us as the 10 seed in the playing game. They lost to the Kobe White 42-point performance. I don't remember what it was. And then jumped to the number 1 seed, or number 1 pick. So yeah, hopefully that happens to us where we go and we lose to Miami, and then we get the number 1 pick, which would be great. Boys wonder, is there a correlation between free throw percentage and 3-point percentage? There isn't always, but there is some. But there isn't always a correlation. I mean, obviously Aaron Gordon's 3-point percentage and free throw percentage has significantly increased this year. But I've seen weird players. I'm trying to remember one. Like, I think Justice Winslow kind of had this, where it's just like he had like an okay 3-point percentage, but it's like his free throw percentage was like dog. I guess no. I mean, yeah, he's had some of those seasons, honestly. Like this year, he's like a good 3-point percentage and then like a really bad free throw percentage. Andrew Wiggins is another guy, where it's like his free throw percentage is just pretty bad for a guy that should be shooting better from 3-point range. Like, he's a pretty good 3-point shooter, but then as you see here, like 40% for 3-point range, 61% from the free throw line. So it's not always a correlation, but it could be sometimes. A lighter Jaren Jackson Jr. perhaps with the handle. Maybe. That actually is not that bad of a comparison, Noel. Like, that's actually a pretty decent comparison. So, not the 7-footer that Jaren Jackson Jr. is, or whatever he is. What is Jaren Jackson? Is he 6'10"? Sorry, I always put in JJJ, Trey J. I guess he is 6'10". So, yeah, let's say a lighter, like, instead of him being 242 pounds for Buzelis, let's say a 225-ish around there pound Buzelis, who doesn't rely on as many threes. Like, Jaren Jackson Jr., like, he just launches threes, right? He puts that up. But I think Buzelis has that on-ball creation ability where he's not going to have to rely on the 3-point shot constantly, and he'll be a little bit more efficient in that sort of sense. And hopefully he's not going to be, putting up like 3 blocks a game ever in a season, but he might get to like maybe 2, hopefully, or like a very light Jason Tatum. Tatum is a little bit interesting. I think maybe on the offensive side you can argue like a lighter Jason Tatum, ideally, but I still think again the 3-point shot's going to be kind of a little bit less from Buzelis. But defensively is definitely not Jason Tatum, because I think Buzelis again is going to be more of a shot block. So, but Tatum is very good defensively, sure. If Sarah wants to save the league, flags the ball, so probably gets Chicago Sports Network on Comcast. Yeah, if Adam Silver wants to save the Bulls and save the Bulls franchise, and also all the Bulls fans from having to find an antenna that works properly in their area because the signal is so dog, then yes, make sure that Cooper flags the bull. We get to the playoffs and we get swept. Would that be worth losing out on better talent in the draft? And granted, again, it's not, that doesn't always mean better talent, right? But it's like, I want the better pick, no matter what. 15th overall versus 11th, I do think is a pretty big, significant difference. I understand that Kawhi Leonard and Giannis were both at pick number 15. But, like we just said, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander picked at 11. Like, we've seen Kobe Bryant picked at 13. Donovan Mitchell picked at 13. Like, Buzelis, hell, was picked at 11, all right? So, I just think you just need to just get a better draft pick. And again, you could, if you don't make the playoffs, you could jump into the top 4, right? Why would you not want that? Like, you could jump into the top 4 and maybe get Dylan Harper. Like, if you get Dylan Harper, then oh my god, I think this Bulls team is in a great spot. But, I mean, the only way you're going to have a chance of getting that is if you lose the playing game. So go and lose the playing game and also get below Miami in the standings. That'd be great. But your point, besides both still have a fully healthy roster, we're still missing 3 key players. Even if we had those 3 key players, Biggs, first and foremost, I still don't think we beat the Cavs or the Celtics. But secondly, why do those key players matter? Like, we're talking about Lonzo Ball, who's a now what, 29? Like, he doesn't need playoff experience. Like, I'm sorry, but like 27, excuse me. So Lonzo is at 27. He doesn't need playoff experience. Like, I really don't need him. Trey Jones, yeah, I maybe you can argue, but he's 25. So yeah, maybe he needs some playoff experience. But granted, I don't know if we're bringing him back next season because of the whole Giddey situation. Io also has had playoff experience, but I don't think he's going to be the big difference between if we win against Cleveland or not. But he's 25 as well, so it's just like he has time. Like, we don't need these guys to get playoff experience. Like, it's not necessary. So again, Lonzo is probably gonna get traded, hopefully. I mean, if the Bulls are doing things correctly. Trey Jones and Io, sure, maybe you want these guys to get some playoff experience, but it doesn't need to be now. Io's had some already, and granted, again, it wasn't great playoff experience against the Milwaukee Bucks, and we got wrecked. And then Trey Jones, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think so. In time, yeah, he hasn't. So, yeah, just again, it can be down the road, honestly. Nothing wrong with that. We don't just being selfish. Wait, sorry. Yeah, if I thought we had a fighting chance to actually win, I'd be more optimistic. At the same time, we could lose intentionally and still not get a good pick. No, I understand that. Yeah, we could lose intentionally and still not get a good pick. But if you win, right, if you make it to the playoffs and then you just lose in the playoffs, you're, no matter what, you at best get the 15th overall pick, which is just like, okay, well, that's not great. Like, we're in the middle of the damn draft class. Like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm just being selfish just because I want to watch them more this season. I understand that. Sure. I don't blame you. But yeah, I'm glad that you understand that that's you more in a sense being kind of selfish. And it's like, I'm personally my whole selfish idea is that I want this team to get the best overall young talent as possible so that hopefully this Bulls team can go and start winning with better young talent on the roster. So that's my selfish whole idea. So sure, maybe it's me being selfish that I want this team to lose in the playing game and hopefully get a better draft pick. But either way, again, I would much rather have 11 versus 15. So hopefully that we do what I say, at least in my opinion, so that we get better young talent on the roster moving forward. Nothing wrong with that. So do I, to be honest, but I'm ready to switch gears into draft season and get my yearly dose of dope with a yearly dose of hope with whatever 2 players we get. Yeah, I mean, of course, that's always the hope, right? We always put our heart and souls into whoever we draft, and like, oh my god, this guy's the next whoever. Hence what Buzelis has done this year. But yeah, I mean, it's no guarantee for sure. Maybe with those, we might have a better chance of having a competitive series. Sure, it might be a better chance of competitive series, but you see what you're saying though? Like, there's nothing in that sentence that says, yeah, we might have a better chance of winning the series, right? So, at least in my opinion, I'm like, listen, I still think you get wrecked, even with these guys here. Like, if Lonzo, Trey Jones, and I are all here, like, I still think you get wrecked. So, there's no guarantee that this is going to be competitive at any point. Therefore, why would you try? Like, just go lose. Lose the playing game, get a better draft pick. We'll figure it out moving forward. You're not concerned about the Heat trying to take for their own pick, I guess? Oh, I'm definitely concerned about that. But I also know that Eric Spoelstra is a damn good coach, and I don't know if he's going to be on board and trying to tank for their own pick. I mean, obviously, I think if you're Miami, you should be doing that right now. But they're locked in for the playing game. They can't get out of it. Therefore, I think Spoelstra is going to do his best to win it. And obviously, too big share in Mobley, though. Oh, they definitely don't. But, I mean, obviously, Lonzo is just impactful in itself. So you have a starting small forward that is Lonzo Ball, which would be great. But at the end of the day, I don't really think it's going to be that game-changing, at least in my opinion. Sorry, I need to grab something. Hold on. Sorry, my nose is running. Maybe I'm still blessed with the #1 pick since the Bulls are trying to compete and not out here taking out purpose like the other teams. Well, unstoppable, we didn't do that tonight, right? We decided to just bench our guys tonight. So, that in and of itself, I feel like is going to put bad juju on this team for if you're actively going to try to make the playoffs and you bench your guys tonight, when you still have a chance to get the 7 seed. I think that puts out bad juju. So I have no faith that the guys are going to give us any sort of, sort of luck in the draft lottery here because of that. But who knows? Maybe. Hopefully. Dribbles basketball's better for them. Yeah, I mean, I agree, but clearly Jerry Reinsdorf doesn't agree. He was getting us to pick until this game. I mean, I don't know about that either, but yeah, sure. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they gave it to like Dallas if they lost the playing game. Like the basketball guys are just like, hey, you know what? No, never mind. It definitely would not have been Dallas. Dallas is bad juju from that whole Luka Doncic trade, but I don't know. You somehow it goes to Atlanta again. Herder really couldn't go. Apparently, with the other guys could have played if cleared per Coley. Gotcha. That makes kind of sense with Herder with his recent injury stuff, but yeah. By the way, Gators won yesterday. Congrats, Tyler. Yeah. Bro, Houston not getting a shot up at the end there is tragic. I hope people after that whole situation do not take NBA basketball for granted, because Houston had a horrific end to that game. And then the not shooting and putting the ball on the floor, and then you can't get it because you decided to jump up, and then you threw the ball on the ground. Like, oh boy, yeah, don't take NBA basketball for granted because, dear Lord, that was horrible. Yeah. Yeah, congratulations though. I'm sure that feels great though to get your Gators to the winning the big tournament. I know UConn won theirs, so congrats to them yet again. They continue to be awesome. For the women's tournament. So yeah, that's yeah. Left him hanging out there. I felt so bad for him. He had the worst game of the year, looked like. So yeah, probably worst game of the year. The only thing is though is that is one of the dumbest decisions you could ever make in that situation. You can't be relying on your teammates to bail you out after you make it that bad of a decision. I can live with you turning it over. I can live with you doing you tried your best to get the shot up. Like I can live with that stuff. But for you to make that decision, that's pretty rough. So unfortunately, I feel pretty bad for him. But that's one of those situations that I'm like, okay, well, it's the last game of the season, so like can't really do anything about it. But I would be very, very pissed if I was his coach. I'd just be like, bro, I would much rather you just shoot it, and it may have been like a heavily contested shot, and it may have like a 0.1% chance of going down, but I would much rather you just shot it than you making a decision that no other of your teammates are going to be aware of you making, because that's the last thing you expect. And then you just completely gave any sort of chance of you either winning or tying that game just went out the door. So yeah, it's shocking for sure. I'm not disagreeing with you about you being surprised or anything like that. It's just like, bro, unfortunately he has to live with that for the rest of his life, which, oof, don't know if I would ever live that down if that was me. Hey, maybe Adam was the one that made the phone call and said, sit your players and lose to the Heat tomorrow. I'll take care of the rest. Yeah, sure. I mean, I hope, bro. What Thomas Hall in Chicago? Yeah. We have our hopes, right? What is the... I don't even know what the recent CBS NBA draft. I want to look at this recently. So, updated today, right? Today's the 8th, right? Yeah, okay, today's the 8th. So, what is this? This is what am I looking at here? Okay, so the Bulls are not gonna be 9. I mean, maybe they could. There is a chance they are 9, but I don't think they'll be 9. Okay, so CMB's stock seems to have fallen pretty much from what I'm looking at. Okay. So Jackie Jonas is do you guys have Jackie Jonas this high? Because I was kind of out on him like last week. Or like even before that, I was just like, I'm not that high on him, but very clearly people at CBS think he's up there. Yeah, I mean, this is just gonna be a weird draft, bro. Like, Cooper Flagg's going number 1. We don't know who's going to go number 2. I mean, if it was up to me, I'm picking Dylan Harper number 2. But then it's like Ace Bailey is probably going top 5, and then it seems like VJ Edgecombe would be the other guy to go top 5. But then after that, I mean, like, pick your guess. Like, who knows? Jeez, this guy is CMB all the way down here. Wow. All right. I don't know if this is updated, though. You guys tell me. He's by 4 for the Gators, number 10 for the Gotcha. That your denim guy is so overhyped, it's crazy. I mean, again, everyone just seems to have different opinions on certain guys. Like, Igor Demon is up here for number 9 for the Bulls, and he's done at number 12. He's number 13 for this guy. So, yeah, it's gonna be odd. I need like the combine and then other info to come out for my overall guesses. So yeah, we'll see, man. I'll be doing my research later. Noel is a good fit for us, not as far along as Bata. So okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'll be talking to you guys more about this when I actually take my time to actually look at the stuff. So, oof. Room overrated. Yeah, I just don't know, bro. Like, I don't know if we could really say anyone's overrated at this point. Like, can we? I don't know at this point. And then there's a lot to kind of talk about or look through first before we can start saying overrated, but we'll see. Ugh. All right, again. So if you're wondering, I looked into Malik. I looked into Derek Queen a little bit. I've looked into a little bit of Jackie Jonas. I don't really have much. I don't really see it. I don't really have much faith in him, unfortunately. So yeah. So Trey Johnson, like these guys in this area here, I'm not really looking too much into. I need to look into these sort of guys, like kind of like this. Like 6 through 12 range. I'm not taking much. I've looked at a little bit of Trey Johnson. I've read some scouting reports on him. So yeah, I'll take my time though. If you want to talk about draft stuff, this is just not the place. I'll be talking about this later. I'll be talking about definitely this later when I've done my research, but just I have not done any of it like really that thorough yet. So bear with me here. One of those guys where I'm fine being in the middle if you aren't top 4. Lots of guys where I have questions at like 7, but would love they fell 11, etc. Yeah, but again, you want to be 11, right? Like you don't want to be 15. Like you want to be at 11 instead. If you think that maybe this guy goes top 10 or like number 7 or 8, but like he falls to 11, like awesome, right? Hey, Cooper Harper locked in 1-2. I don't know if I would say Harper's locked in. I think Cooper is definitely locked in number 1. But after that, though, I mean, I think that I mean, we've seen some crazy things happen where it's just like, wow, I thought this guy would go number 2 and he fell to 3. So we'll see. I saw they talk about them during tournaments. What made me say that? Gotcha. I think it could be Bailey Edgecombe, maybe a surprise pick. So I've also looked into Edgecombe a little bit. I like what I see with Edgecombe. I really do. But I also am aware he's very raw. So like my only thing with Ace Bailey is just like I do think that some of the whole talks about him being just like, okay, he's just a scorer and he makes a lot of tough shots. Like I do think some of that is true. but it's kind of just like I haven't done enough of research into him. Of like, okay, is that really going to be his NBA kind of turnout, or is this just kind of where he is just now? Is just like he can't really do anything else, and then moving forward he'll be able to do a lot more. But I know a lot of people are on both ends of the spectrum when it comes to Ace Bailey. There are people that think he's like the best prospect after Cooper Flag, but then there's people that think that he should go like number 8. So, yeah, I don't know. I agree with that, assuming the draft follows the Moxio. I think multiple guys in my personal top 10 are still there at 15, honestly, but I'm also not high on some guys like KJ, etc. But either way, though, still, I think you want to be at 11. Like, I understand that it's like, oh, it's just 4 spots, but I still want to be up higher. Also not high as guys like KJ. Gotcha. I mean, yeah, I'm just like, from what I have watched from Jackie Jonas, from not just like I've watched some film on him, I've also looked into some of his overall stats that are like pretty bad for him. I'm just like, I don't really have much faith in him. I really don't, for whatever reason. I'm just like, I look into him, I'm like, I don't see NBA player, unfortunately. So watch me be wrong. He's gonna get like drafted top 5, and I'm just gonna be wrong about it. Like I'm sure that could happen, but yeah, I'm not thrilled with how he looked at it. And I know a lot of Bulls fans wanted, you know, University of Illinois, Lithuanian Connect, and everything, but I'm just like, no, I'm good. That's like kind of like the one thing I'm just like, yeah, I'm good on him. I know a lot of people did not like how Malik kind of played in the tournament, but and I do have some concerns about him as well, but I don't really know enough to kind of match him up against some of the other prospects that are gonna be in our range, so can't really say too much yet. All right, because this is a earlier game, I want to take advantage of it, and I want to get a good night's rest because I'll be back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, for the Bulls versus the Heat. 9:30 p.m. Central Time. This is for all the Bulls fans that agreed with resting guys tonight. This is your biggest game of the season, so you better hope this Bulls team goes out and wins this game tomorrow. You're at home, so I think that puts the Bulls at a disadvantage, unfortunately, for all those people that want that. For someone like me, again, I would love if we lose tomorrow, just so I can laugh in all the Bulls fans' faces about, yeah, it was a good idea to rest guys tonight, even though we're trying to make the playoffs. But also just for better overall draft lottery odds. I think that'd be good for us, but I never get my wish with this team, so I'm sure we're gonna go and win. But overall, again, 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Assuming everyone's gonna be playing except maybe some people. We'll see about Herter's status. I know Giddey had that wrist brace on. I don't know if that's for show or if that's actually legit, but either way, it doesn't look great for the Bulls with that. Heat are gonna definitely be playing their guys, so we'll see how they come out and perform. Could be a preview for the Bulls playing matchup here, so we have to all pay attention to this game because I think it's pretty important, because I do think that this is probably going to be the most likely play-in matchup for the Bulls, and we're most likely to be at home. Once again, I do think that Jerry wants that extra home game. I'm aware that everyone's like, well, if we've got the 8 seed, we've got 2 extra home games. Well, if you think in Reinsdorf terminology, right, which is, again, if you want to know how I always talk about when it comes to Jerry, I always talk about what in Reinsdorf terminology, okay? So, just to put it to you this way, if the Bulls got the 8 seed and then won that game, and then they were the 7 seed, right? Yes, you would get guaranteed 2 home games in the playoffs, which is 2 extra games for the Reinsdorfs. Congrats. However, if you're the Reinsdorfs, right, what if you could get 3 extra home games, right? So that means that no matter what, if you get the 9 seed, that you're guaranteed this extra home game. If you then happen to win it, and then happen to win then the 9 versus whoever lost the 7-8 game matchup, right, which would be on the road, but then you happen to win also that game, then you would get 3 extra home games in the postseason. So, in Reinsdorf terminology, right, this is the most way you can maximize your home games is if you make sure that you're the 9 seed come the play-in tournament, and then you win that game, and then you make it to the playoffs, and then you get the 2 extra home games at home, assuming that it doesn't go to a game 6, which I don't think it will. So that's the Reinsdorf way. That's the reason why I'm not shocked to see the Bulls did this decision tonight. But I overall think it's very funny. And I'm always going to go to that because I don't think there's any sort of logical explanation why the Bulls rested their guys tonight. If they're actually trying to make the playoffs, which I don't know if they are. So we'll see how this is going to work out. So be ready for a fun night tomorrow, no matter what the result is. And I get to make fun of the Reinsdorfs no matter what. So I'm glad I get to do that on this channel. And I appreciate that you guys allow me to do that. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a lot. I do sincerely appreciate all the likes. Thank you for a great season. I overall am sincerely appreciative of everything this year from you guys. And I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Petty? Oh, definitely petty. They could lose tomorrow either way. It's not like anyone can prove whether resting today changed the odds behind the final score. No, I agree with you completely, AV Breeze, but that basically just supports my point, right? Like, that supports my point of like, well, you should have then tried your hardest against the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday then. Like, sorry, but you could go and lose tomorrow, and you should have tried your hardest against the Cavs instead. Because you could lose tomorrow. Like, that just proves my point. You should not have rested guys tonight. Just saying. Makes no damn sense whatsoever for what the Bulls did. If you're actively trying to make the playoffs, you should, if you're a person that supports actively trying to make the playoffs, you should be flaming the absolute crap out of this organization tonight. And I have not seen enough of that tonight from Bulls Twitter. So I had to point it out. Like, I can't ignore it and be like, hey guys, just to point out, you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, badly drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, this is honestly insane. I kind of hope the league kind of finds the Reinsdorfs tonight, because at the end of the day, Kobe rested tonight. Like, you could argue that Giddey was injured with his wrist, and then Vooch with his calf, and then Herter seemed like he was actually injured. Fine, I don't care about that. But on the injury report, it said Kobe was resting. So for a team that has a chance still of making to the 7th seed, the Bulls decided to do load management tonight when they really shouldn't have. So you know, the Bulls getting fined would be great. They won't do it, but I would love to see the Bulls get fined just so that the Reinsdorfs have to fork more money over when they don't want to. I would love that personally, but yeah, it's not gonna happen. All right, y'all. Appreciate the good talk. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see how this game goes. Jeremiah fears I wonder. Jeremiah fears I wonder where he'll land. Yeah, we'll see where he lands. If you look into the ref situation, and like it was OKC, you'll drive home your issues with officiating this year. I'll look into it for sure. I gotta catch him in the rest of the games. Have a good night, Tyler. I appreciate it. See you guys. Appreciate y'all. As you're gonna play after the stream ends here. See ya.